Richard Berthelsen to talk a little bit more about this. He joins us from Toronto. So Richard, let me go back to the quote from the palace. The Queen has reluctantly agreed, and it seems the language chosen to make sure people don't worry too much.
Yeah, I mean, it is extraordinary for the Queen to cancel engagements, postpone, or anything. She has just not done that for most of her reign. And so I think the use of the word reluctantly, it reflects her own views. And the palace has also been briefing, suggesting that this is not COVID related. It's nothing to worry about. But the Queen has had an extremely active schedule since her summer residency ended in Balmoral. She's been in Wales. She's been at Buckingham Palace undertaking engagements. She's been in Westminster Abbey. She went to the races last weekend, where she got an award as one of the premier race owners in the United Kingdom. So she's done quite a lot, and people have been actually quite surprised. And after a period of about 18 months where she's largely been at home in quarantine, like so many other people, it's probably come as a bit of a surprise. So it's hard to say what it was. If she just felt she couldn't, get on and off airplanes, in and out of cars, in and out of a residence. She was going to a church service today. It was quite a lot. So there's a lot going on. But I think she's probably, considered it out of abundance of caution. Remember, she's got a big engagement next weekend in Glasgow to do with the COP26 environmental conference. Remembrance Day is coming up. And with Northern Ireland, I think there's always an element of extra caution because there are security issues that we may also not be aware of.
Yeah, you mentioned COP26, which she will host, and it's interesting because the royals have been outspoken. Well, maybe not so much the Queen, although she was heard saying that more talk and hasn't been enough action she found irritating. But the royals, so whether it's Prince Charles or Prince William, have spoken out on the environment.
They have, but they have been throughout most of their lives, particularly Prince Charles and Prince Philip before him. Prince Charles has been much more active on climate change throughout his whole life and really sees it as a passionate issue. Prince William has also taken it up. The Queen's obviously a bit more circumspect, but because of the presence of heads of state, heads of government from around the world, including the Commonwealth, that's why I think she feels she has to be in Glasgow. Obviously, the British government feels it's extremely important too, and you don't roll out the Queen as your number one secret weapon unless you think it's really important and you feel that she can play an important role.
Yeah, and she was seen, and there was a lot reported on the fact that she was using a cane. But at the same time, she is 95, and as you said, she's had a really busy schedule, so we shouldn't really take anything much from that.
No, I don't think we should. Although I will say, though, because we haven't seen her a lot in the last 18 months, I find that seeing her in the last few weeks quite a bit, she does look frailer. She does look thinner than she has been in her life. She was using the cane. Of course, she was doing that at Westminster Abbey where there's cobblestone, uneven surfaces. There was a lot of walking involved. And so, I think these are signals to us that, she's not in the same shape she has been. We are in the sunset of a very long reign. There's a very, very big date coming up next year with the Platinum Jubilee. I think she really wants to participate fully in doing her job. And I think it was really interesting that this was the last of 4 visits around the kingdom in the last month. Scotland, Wales, of course, England, and Northern Ireland. She's really, wanting to be out there, be seen, and doing her role. And that's what she's done her whole life. And she's probably really missed it enormously the last 18 months.
And kind of funny before we go, Richard, that I guess she turned down the offer of getting the Oldie of the Year award.
Yeah, no surprise there. Prince Philip did receive it about 10 years ago. He took it with a great deal of humor. The Queen, probably like most women of her age and vintage, doesn't necessarily appreciate being referred to as an oldie. And I think she probably sort of thought, what would my grandmother do, Queen Mary? Would she accept something like this? And she certainly wouldn't have. So I think the Queen probably thought it was kind of maybe not appropriate, beneath her dignity to do that, let others do it. Actually, interestingly enough, the Duchess of Cornwall, who's in her 70s herself, did make a very, very funny speech at that particular ceremony and was present. So the royal family, I don't have a problem with the award, but I think the Queen felt as the Queen and sovereign, maybe she would stay out of that one.
Yeah, okay. And as you mentioned, 70 years on the throne as of next year. Well, royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen, good to talk to you.
You too.